So, we've been talking in my Reformation class a bit about communion and Roman Catholicism and what is actually dividing the church and who's responsible and what are the next steps to unity. And basically the sentiment in my class, which is made of Protestants, is that it's the Roman Catholic Church's fault that we're not united because they say that we can't have communion together because we don't believe the same things about what the communion is. The Roman Catholic Church believes in transubstantiation, which means that when you go to take communion, you are actually in the presence of Jesus Christ, and the bread and the wine are actually the presence of Jesus' flesh and blood. And so basically the Protestant sentiment is that, well, it's the Roman Catholic Church's fault that the communion table is divided and that we're not unified. But as I've come to see it, it's more so that the Roman Catholic Church has so much reverence for the sacrament of the Eucharist that they want to uphold that reverence and the truth of the belief that this really is Jesus, body, blood, soul, and divinity. And so in the upholding of that, in that sacredness, there is this, the best way that I can think of explaining it is kind of relating it to marriage and sex. And so a lot of Protestants are like, come, you're welcome at our table, like, let's just be unified in this and let's just all have communion together, like, we have this communion, come and partake and we'll be unified in that. But how the Roman Catholic Church views that is, it's kind of like saying, come, have sex with me. But it's like, no, that's so sacred, it's so special that I want to be within a holy covenant before partaking in that act. And then there's a step before entering into that marital vow of that covenant, where first you want to determine that you're equally yoked. And so there's this idea of truth and agreeing on truth that comes before that step of unity of partaking in that sacred act together. And so I can see where Protestants are coming from, saying that the Roman Catholic Church is dividing the table and bringing disunity. But how I've come to see it is that it's really out of a reverence for the holiness of Christ and the sacredness of that sacrament of the Eucharist, that it's actually a drawing in deeper. Because if Catholics were to just say, okay, yeah, for the sake of unity, let's all just let anyone come to the table and be a part of this sacrament without first taking a vow and committing your life to this, and without first agreeing to the lifestyle that we ascribe to, and without first consenting to the truth that we believe and the orthodoxy of the faith. And so basically what I'm saying is, if I was to just have sex with a guy, then the guy would not be inclined to commit to me, because he would already be getting what he wants, you know. And so in having boundaries and saying no, there has to be this commitment and there has to be this understanding, and this journey to being equally yoked prior to partaking in the act. It's actually that boundary itself draws people deeper. And so when I'm in a dating relationship and I say, like, you know, I'm not going to do these certain physical acts, that allows for a deeper development of the relationship that will build a foundation before the act. And so it's a similar way in the Catholic Church with communion or the Eucharist, because there's this boundary of, like, first you need to come to this deeper understanding of the faith, make this sacred vow of committing and entering into the fellowship of the church as the bride of Christ, our beloved, and then you can partake of the sacred sacrament of the Eucharist, which is a way of, well, there's a lot of meaning behind what the sacrament of the Eucharist is, because when we partake of it, we are enabled by grace to become who we partake of. So you are what you eat. You partake of Jesus, and then we become like Jesus. And so every time that we have that opportunity to partake of the sacrament of the Eucharist, it's a renewing of our vow to live for Christ and to be committed to his church. And similarly, like in marriage, when you have sex, you're renewing your sacred wedding vow every time. And so I think there's such a beauty in the depth of truth and mystery that is committed to and ascribed to in the Roman Catholic Church, that as it comes to the Eucharist, and I think it's worthy to be upheld as it is. It's not trying to bar people off, as some Protestants see it, as a way to divide, but it is actually a path to unity, of standing for the truth and saying, you are all welcome at this table, but it is so sacred that first you need to come to this understanding and make a commitment before entering into that sacred act. So I hope that explains a little bit more about the Roman Catholic Church's view on the Eucharist. If you have any thoughts or questions, please leave a comment below.